Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about the S in Solid, and that is the single responsibility principle. So here is an example of some code that is not following the single responsibility principle. We can see here we have a public class user manager, and our user manager is doing quite a few different things. It's registering the user, it also is validating the fields, the username and email. It's saving the user to the database and sending an email confirmation. So we've got 5 different things going on here. Clearly this is not a single responsibility. There are multiple responsibilities of this class now. So generally you don't want to do this. This actually isn't so bad here because it's pretty short in this example. But you can easily get to thousands of lines of code if you have something like this, where you just keep adding more and more over time instead of doing any sort of extraction or abstraction. You just keep adding code repeatedly, and you're going to end up with a mess if you keep going down that route. So instead, let's see what we can do here. So the way we solve this, we'll extract out these functions into their own classes. We can put the validation logic into its own class. Saving the user to the database, that obviously belongs in its own class. And sending an email confirmation also belongs in its own class. So that leaves us with register user, which will be fine because that goes along with the user manager concept. Let's see what that looks like. So we got the user manager here. Let's start extracting some of this stuff out. So let's have a public class user validator for our validation. And then we can simply just cut and paste just like that. And we'll make these public so we can call them. There we go. Of course, now we're going to get some squigglies up here. We'll solve that here soon. Let's also get another class now for saving the user to the database, and let's create a user repository. So we'll go down here, say public class user repository, and once again let's cut and paste and change the scoping here to public again. Lastly, let's create an email service for our send email confirmation. So we'll go down here again, public class email service. And again, we got to make this public. For some reason the indentation's wrong there, so let's move that back. There we go. Alright, this is looking pretty good besides our squigglies up there. Alright, so let's make some private read-only properties here for our classes now that we'll be calling from the user manager. So let's have our user validator, and we'll say underscore validator. And then we'll also have, of course, our user repository, and we'll just say repository repos. There we go. And finally, let's get our email service, and I'm missing the type here. There we go. All right, and then let's add a constructor for our user manager class. So let's say public user manager, and then we'll say validator equals new user validator, and we'll do the same for the repository, and of course the email service. Now we need to change these to reference our properties, so let's do that now. So we'll come in here and say validator dot, again validator dot, and down here this is going to be our repository, so let's repository dot email service dot, and there we go. So we have now extracted out the other responsibilities into their own classes. So we have the user manager class, which is just responsible for registering the user validator class to validate the input, the repository to save the user to the database, and the email service that could be used for sending an email confirmation out. And that's it. Pretty simple. Just try to follow this. You don't have to follow it if you're prototyping proof of concept, but make sure that you refactor your code before committing it to the main code base. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe for more design, architectural, engineering videos. Bye.